Buongiorno e benvenuti. Welcome to Art Yoga Pills with me, your host, Binny. In this space, we will connect and share together about creativity, inner child, and self-awareness. Siete pronti? Enjoy! Ciao a tutti, Kia ora, and welcome to this new episode of Art Yoga Pills. Today, I'm not alone. I have a special guest with me, Jessica White. How are you, Jess, today?
Kia ora, Danny. Wow, just hearing you speak and inviting me in to speak, I'm just noticing I'm just filled with gratitude. My heart just swelled as you shared my name and your excitement to have me here. So, yeah, I'm grateful to be in this opportunity to chat together about the things that I love and the things that light me up. And I love knowing that you are also interested in these things. So, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
I'm ready as well. And as I was sharing with you just before I start recording, to me is a really beautiful opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, as well as for possible our audience. And my first question is just related to you, to yourself, and who you are, if you wish to share that a little bit for those who don't know you. I know you, but it's a good question. Who is Jess?
Yes, who is Jess? Gosh, in this moment, wow. I'm really coming more and more into the experience that Jess is a vessel, a human vessel that gets to experience life and has the absolute honor of having life seeking expression through me. And for as long as I can remain aware of that and open to that, then my life is just filled to the brim with joy. So that is my a little bit of who I am right now, perhaps more on a logistical plane. I am Jess and I live in the far north of New Zealand. I live up here with my partner and our two daughters who are 7 and 5, and we live a life of learning together. They are unschooled, which doesn't look anything like school, hence the name unschooling. It's a type of homeschooling where we all just really follow our passions, follow our heart, and support each other the best that we can in following that light. And I love so much how aligned that is with one of my main passions, nonviolent communication, also known as NVC, as you know, which is exactly that. It's about following the life inside of us, following the callings of our heart, and then making choices from that space. I really love as well that many people come to me to learn this work. I have the absolute honor of sharing this work. And actually, I just want to point out it's not my own work. It's not something that I have created. It was offered to the world by a man in the 1960s, Dr. Marshall Rosenberg. And I have the pleasure of sharing it with the world in my own way. And many people come to me really longing to grow their communication skills and to find some more tools. And often when they come to me with that request, I often have like an inner excitement, like a celebration, because I just know that, yes, they will be receiving some communication tools. They will also likely be receiving a lot more as well, because this really is a life practice. Yeah.
Thank you, Jess, so much for sharing. And I guess that probably my first question is exactly related with nonviolence communication. In my experience with that, you were the first person who introduced me by chance or synchronicity, I would say. It was a period in my life that I was particularly filled with anger, and I didn't know what to do with that. My usual behavior was to trying to suppress and trying to just express the best part of me and hide the negative side of myself, or the one that I was considering negative. And I guess that sometime even now when I share about nonviolence communication, because of the power of word violent, it gives a different impression of what actually is. But I was wondering if you could share a little bit more about that in terms of what is or what isn't, mainly related with the definition that Marsha Rosenberg gave. Of course, from my background, I got so fascinating that I went to listen to all his podcasts and started reading his book and dive to a couple of training as well, one of which was with you. So I have familiarity with this, but I wonder for those who have never heard of it before, if there is something specific that you wish to share about nonviolence communication. Although I know that then in your development, then this word also transform in a different way as conscious communication. That to me may make
Mm.
much more sense. But if someone just read nonviolence communication, what would be the advice or the meaning that you will share with those who just come across this?
Yeah, exactly. I love that question, Danny, because so many people come across this work and they hear non-violent, and then instantly a thought can come up, I'm not violent, this work is not for me. And pictures of the most like horrific violence could come up, and so they instantly there's a repelling from this work. So my understanding was that Marshall Rosenberg chose the name Nonviolent Communication as honor to the way Mahatma Gandhi shared his work in nonviolence, and he used the Sanskrit word ahimsa, which translates to harmlessness, compassion, and care for all beings. And that's why Marshall Rosenberg chose the name. And then a little bit down the line, he did share some concern around the name that he himself had chosen because of exactly people having an aversion to the term violent, even though there's the non in front of it. And yet it had really caught on. NVC became quite known in many countries. So he stayed with the name. And it's been really interesting, my own relationship with the name as well. I kind of go in and out of having resistance or openness to the name. And that's why I myself play with different names, conscious communication or compassionate communication, as it's also known. And then really ultimately I land in a place of, it's really just a name. The work is a whole energy in itself, and as in my own experience and from witnessing and sharing the journey with other people who begin practicing, they soon discover like all of the aspects and all of the elements that this practice brings to them. And then often NVC is used with a lot of like affection.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I guess that something that came up to me while you were sharing is mainly related with how was your first experience in finding out about this practice, or is something that it's always been part of your life? Because for me it wasn't, and it was a synchronicity that bring me to your workshop. So I wonder where it started for you or how it started.
Thank you. So for me, it's almost like where there's, my whole life has almost been leading up to this. Where do I begin? And what's coming most to me now is really the time when I became mother, and I was mother to my first baby. And I found that initial mothering stage relatively fluid. It kind of just flowed through me, the attachment parenting, carrying my baby and co-sleeping and keeping my baby close all the time, all of those things. And then there was one time when my daughter was almost 2 and we were traveling overseas and we were in a hotel room. And it was the first time when I felt completely like scared. I didn't know how to support my daughter. She was having some big emotions and they were moving out through her body. So I was watching her as she was lying on the ground, kicking and screaming, and it was like nothing that I could offer her was going to comfort her. And I felt the sense of urgency, like I need to help her, or I need to stop her crying, or I need to do something. And I was completely helpless. And in that moment, I knew that I was looking for something that would support me. in tuning in, I also, that was really important to me, was that it was something about tuning into my own way, because always, when I'd come to mothering, I'd really continually tuned into myself. Like, I really wanted a home birth and to breastfeed and to sleep with baby. And this all came from a deeply intuitive place. And then it was almost like when I saw that big emotion and the way my body responded in panic, I was disconnected from my intuition. So I knew I wanted to find some kind of support, but the kind that would support me in tuning back into my intuition. So there, another seed was planted. And then I guess like the wonderful synchronicity or divinity at play was when my second daughter was born. She was a few months old, and I was living with my mum and my family. We were living with my mum because we were transitioning to moving up north. And I was a part of a home birth group. I was supporting other women who wanted home births. And there was one mum, and I'd only just met her, and she had a newborn baby, maybe 4 or 5 weeks old. And she phoned me up and she said she was scared. She was experiencing that she was in danger and she wanted somewhere to come and stay, some protection. And I said to my mum, can we open up your house? Would you be happy to open up your house to this young mum and her baby? And my mum instantly said yes, gave her sleep out. My mum had a sleep out to herself. And so this woman and her baby came to live with us. And then it soon became apparent that we weren't able to offer her the support that she needed, the emotional support. The baby was crying a lot and she was going through her own stuff. So we seeked support outside of our family circle. And I just put a post up on one of the local Facebook pages, and then someone tagged in someone's name. So I get in touch with this person. And then this person was a young woman. She was 16 years old at the time. And when she walked into our family home, it was like this golden glow. She just came in with this golden aura around her, and their calm just oozed all over our family space that had previously been, I guess, a little bit chaotic with kids and things going on. And then for the next few weeks, I had that absolute honor of witnessing this 16-year-old woman support my friend and her baby. In a way, I perceived it to be like she had so much centeredness, so much self-awareness, so much compassion. And then the way that she was able to speak and communicate with us, I was blown away, because when I was thinking of my own 16-year-old self and the way I was, it was just so different. And I had this thought, you must find out who her parents are. And then so when I spoke to her, I discovered that her mum was a trainer in nonviolent communication. I was like, wow, it was just like this light. Okay, that's the thing I'm looking for. And then it turned out it was a thing I was looking for. I went to trainings and instantly it was like a sponge, like absorbed it. And then I knew I wanted to bring this into my life and share it with other people. Yeah, thank you for inviting me to go back into that memory. It's just so sweet.
It's so beautiful how life sometimes is exactly as you mentioned before you started to share the story, that you felt like that everything was leading up to that moment for you to discover what you were meant to embrace into your life. And it's so beautiful. I had goosebumps all over the journey, and it's so empowering once you finally, either by chance or by um mm, search, you finally find what you are looking for. And for me as well, nonviolence communication has been quite powerful in a way that now I'm understanding a little bit more my emotion and my thought, and I'm trying my best to express them as much as I can out loud, either for myself, and that I'm succeeding quite good, but also then to the people that I encounter during my day, or my family and my friends as well. So, up to that point where you started to understand that this was part of your journey, how did you decide to create what your offering is today, and what your offering is actually to the community, to inspire them as well to become more aware of themselves and having the same potentially golden glowing light around themselves, and more self-awareness as well about all these flowing of emotion that we all experience, but to make them okay to be even like the one that we consider, let's say, negative, to be okay with everything. I don't know if my question is clear. Actually, I'm feeling everywhere. Like I would like to know, yeah, how, I guess that I know already what inspired you based on your story, but what is the work that you do to keep on inspiring also others from the inspiration that you receive and from the training that you gain in your experience?
Mm, yeah. So as soon as I discovered the magic of this practice, and when I say magic, it wasn't as if, I invited NVC into my life and then click, there was a golden glow around me and my family and away we went forever in peace. It was more like I gained power and this, trust and this understanding. Some NVC gives me something that I can forever, as you know, forever come back to the truth, what is important to us, and then extending that to how what is important to this other person, like what is true for them, and then how can we meet and share life together. And so, what I really love to do now is I share this work in many ways, actually. I began by sharing NVC in just small circles in my local community, where mostly parents would come, and I would teach them the concepts and the basics of this work, and then we would bring it to life with a lot of practice. And it's quite, I guess from the outside, it could look quite messy because it's a parent and child group. So the children come and they're doing all their own thing and playing, and obviously they have needs that need tending to, and then here we are really wanting to practice. So what I really enjoy about that space actually is that we practice these MVC. We hone in on any areas where we have edges, where we have challenges, and we practice as a group or with a buddy in pairs. And then the transition to go back home is less of a shock on the system, I think, because we're already in the world of the children all around. And so we just carry on the best that we can and continue this consciousness and using these tools and these skills. So it's really, I find the community aspect of this work really powerful. It's quite a different way of being or of seeing the world than most of us were brought up with. And so when we discover this work, we can be very excited, and then implementing it can be really challenging. So finding other people who are really enthusiastic and see the power in it can be so supportive. And so other ways that I share this work, I offer in-person workshops, and I've also recently moved maybe 1 year ago into the online world, where you can mostly find me on Instagram, where I really enjoy just sharing my own growth and just little snippets from my day or my experiences with my children or with my partner or with my friends. And I love that. It's an opportunity for me to grow. And then I so enjoy hearing from other people how it supports them, because they can see how this practice looks in real life. And so I also share this work one-to-one as well, which I really enjoy, because of course we can get right into the nitty-gritty and just go really deep. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
You answered my question, but my question was basically not very clear as well. But I really like your sharing. And what I like about it is that because you are a mother, you focus this work, part of your work, especially to support parent in supporting themselves and creating a communication, a healthy communication with their children. And you mentioned about your video of Instagram, and especially the one that you do with your daughters, are the one that I sent to my sister because she recently became mother as well. And I wish for her to have the same support even if she lives in the state. And I think that she hasn't managed yet to find a group that she might possibly join. So I often encourage her to watch those videos because they're really inspiring. But I also know from my personal experience that I don't have children, that I use this practice to kind of reparenting myself. Or if
Mm.
I don't have the support to do it with myself, I'm trying to reaching out to friends that um, are having the same skills of communication, that they can support me without giving me advice, but maybe just being present for me and listen to me. And based on this, I know that you are recently started a new project, and I wonder if you wish to share about that as well, because I know that Julia is part of it as well, and I'm so grateful there is such a thing. I might book one of the session as well for myself. But if you wish to share, I don't want to spoil it with saying too much from my side. I would like to give you the possibility to do that as well.
I would so enjoy talking about this. And before I do, I would really love to share one part that I experienced when I was younger that kind of planted a seed in me for the I guess the manifestation of this vision coming into the world. So there were many, and it's really meaningful for me to go back and explore and be with those seeds from this place now of where I am, and looking back and just really nurturing that part of me. So yeah, I'm noticing like even like some emotions, wow, just some awe and gratitude moving up into my throat as I recognize this, because I'm realizing that it's really been a long time coming. I didn't know that, I don't think consciously, but now that it is coming out into the world, it really has been something that's been growing inside of me. And so one of those seeds really was when I was a teenager, and my brother, who was 1 year older than me, he really suffered with depression, and he would go and see a counselor. I can't remember, a counselor or a psychologist or someone in the mental health profession. And I accompanied him on one particular session. And it was really incredible. I was watching him, when he first arrived in the chair, he was very closed and not wanting to speak at all. And after some time, I just watched him soften and open up and really, really share from his heart. Under, when he trusted this person that was holding that space for him. And that really had a huge impact on me. Like, wow, like look at this presence from this person. And then after that session, we were in the reception area, and my brother wanted to rebook his next session. And the lady told him, we have one available in 2 weeks' time. And my brother expressed anger in that moment, and I was really shocked because I'd never seen him really demonstrate anger out in public. And so he banged his fist down on the table, and he just said, well, what was the point of this session if I have to wait another 2 weeks to come back into that space? I might as well have not even had it. And that really broke my heart. I could really sense his pain. He was really came out with hope after that session, and then he experienced that hope of really being crushed, and that hope really far away for him. And so that was one seed. And so now, like coming back into the present moment, I realized I've had this desire or this longing for that kind of support, that empathic presence, that support from another human being who are dedicated and committed to holding space for people who want it or need it. Be available and be freely available. So there's no barrier like time or cost to get in the way. So the dream was for empathy angels. The dream is, which is coming into reality now, for empathy angels to be available, to be accessed, where anyone in the public can go on a website and book in their own session to have a 1 hour session, up to a 1 hour session. It could be less if they wish, where this empathy angel is a person just like you and I, and they are dedicated and so passionate about supporting others. And they also practiced in nonviolent communication and see it as a way of serving and of supporting others and connecting to themselves and what's true for them, and giving space for all emotion to be present and to be held with love and care. And so this is a project that is coming into the world now. We are running a crowdfunding campaign on Pledge Me, where we are asking for $37,000, which will get this project up, the service fully operational in its first 6 months of service. And then after that, I just have something living in me, some faith or trust or hope or something that the project will continue. Like, I will do whatever it takes for this service to continue, whether those funds, are sourced from businesses or organizations that believe and see the benefit of this project. So we have a team of 11 angels and myself, and we are all really excited. We've just started the Instagram page, we've got the beginnings of the website, and it's all go. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the sharing, and it's beautiful to see where it come from. I had no idea that it was related with something personal in your life, and in your family as well. And it's something really powerful to me, the connection that I can see with this practice, with empathy, with conscious communication, in a way that can deeply support others, not just by telling them what to do, but just giving our full presence to host a space, even of silence, where you just allow the other person to share and be there just by listening, and be open with no judgment, no blaming, no shaming. That is something really important, especially when we need to release certain emotion that might be quite uncomfortable, and giving ourselves permission to do that with someone that is giving us permission back. It's something wonderful, and I truly, my God, I feel also quite filled up with everything, with care, with love, with all the beautiful things that this project is gonna give, because it's something that I'm really proud of, and I'm so happy for you. Congratulations for that. And would you like to share something more of related with how people might eventually reach out to you if they are looking for more information? Everything will be also in the description of the podcast. But if there is something that you would like to share in terms of how can people reach out to you, or how they can see the Empathy Angels website, how they can do that.
Yeah. I would love for your listeners to really receive the invitation of when this project is up and running, and once everything's in place that we are looking at mid-March. So we will have these empathy sessions available. So of course we want to find people who would enjoy receiving and being in that empathic space with the empathy angels. So I would, if you're on Instagram, come and find us, Empathy Angels, or our website, empathyangels.co.nz, because once the service is up and running, we will be extending the invitation to anybody who would enjoy experiencing receiving empathy in this way, particularly, through the lens of nonviolent communication, where we really tune our attention into our emotions and our needs or our values, those things that are deeply important to us. And as you say, a session could look like really someone holding space and not even really talking much while you get to share. Or if you prefer, you could share a little bit of what's alive, and then the angels will offer reflections, always coming it back to yourself and what's true for you, in a really gentle and compassionate way.
Thank you so much, Jess, for that. And I wonder if there is anything else that you wish to share that I might forgot to ask, or if you really feel like longing for sharing something that we miss up to this point. This could be a good opportunity, or even how people can reach out to you in particular if they wish to connect with you as well.
Thank you, Danny. So, as I shared, I'm most active on Instagram, so that's Flourishing and Flow, or email, website, all of those things. I would love to hear from you, even if it's just something, like an inspiration that came up for you listening to Denny and I chatting. I would love to hear. I love meeting people, anyone who is interested or even just that beginning curious stage of this work and perhaps what it could do for you. I also would love to share as well if there are any mothers in the listeners. I'm starting a new program for mothers beginning next year sometime. And it's going to be like a 6-month program where we get to learn the foundations of NVC really through the lens of motherhood and everything that kind of accompanies that. So that's going to be including things not solely on how we can relate and connect to our children, but all the other parts that really fulfill us up. So, connecting into our own purpose and the gifts that we really want to share with the world and those kind of things. So that's something that I'm really excited about. That's kind of just stirring underneath and yeah, and also just keeping an eye on any other offerings. There's always something going on, so I would love to meet you. And of course, there's so many other trainers, and I really, really encourage anyone, even if you have learned MVC before or if you're new, really seek out learning from other trainers because we are all sharing this work through our own unique personality, through our own unique perspective. And I myself just gain so much value when, even if I'm hearing the same work and I know the concepts, it just really lands in this beautiful, new, and meaningful way when I hear it expressed through the life that someone else brings to it. Yeah, we're blessed. We have many trainers in New Zealand, and there are many, many around the world as well.
Yeah, it's very true. Funny enough, I just discovered recently there is a place in Italy very close to where I used to live with my parents, and I couldn't believe that I had to come on the other side of the world from where I started to come across this practice. But it's unbelievable how actually it's not just here where I am, where I discover about it in New Zealand, but it's actually extend to the whole world. So also for those who might listen to us from any other country. Um, there are so many tools available and so many people that are actually practicing and so many other different practices that are relating to it, even if they don't call them the same way or they might not have even a relationship with nonviolence communication. So it's possible to keep on growing with this practice day by day, remembering to have patience also with ourselves in a way that we can connect with our emotion and tap into the compassion to ourselves and to others as well. So I'm aware that we are almost coming to the end of our time, but to conclude this practice, unless there is anything else that, once again, I might have forgot to ask you, one thing that I would like to ask you is based on our practice of art yoga, which always conclude the session with 3 grateful things. But in this case, because the format is slightly different, my invitation, if you wish to share, is to still share 3 things, but possibly 3 empowering messages that you would like to dedicate to yourself and to others, including myself and all our listener as well.
Mm, thank you for that invitation. I'm just going to tune in and just see what's going to arise. I'm actually really noticing your invitation, empowering messages. I'm noticing I'm feeling really nervous and like a strong sense of I want to give something of value. And as I say these words, I can feel my body soften. And so my message is, oh, can we just be true and honor the life that is within us in each moment? And that is enough. That is enough. That is more than enough. That is life. And another thing that's coming up to me as well is learning this work, nonviolent communication. When I began, I kind of saw like this finish line of wanting to be somewhere embodied in this work and, embodied in the consciousness of nonviolence or something. And even thinking about that kind of brings a tension to my body. Like, my goodness me, what a goal to set myself. And really what lights me up the most is acknowledging that I am embodying the journey. And I love that, because this work always offers us tools for repair, for reflection, for redos, for all of it, so we can begin again in any moment. And after all, we are human. We are here to have a human experience. So let's celebrate that too, right?
That's beautiful, this moment, because I take in all the empowering messages starting from myself as well. So it's beautiful. And I forgot to say that there was no such a thing as big or small, because everything is valuable. And thank you so much for your sharing. It was beautiful. It filled my heart so much, so that I can go ahead with my day with more light. And I really like the fact, the reminder actually, of that we are human, we are I don't know how to phrase it well, but we are spirit, having a human experience. So why not enjoying that with every up and down that comes along our path? So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. We are arrived almost at the end of our sharing. As we mentioned before, all the information to reach out to you will be available also in the description, so that if anyone wishes to improve, get to know you a little bit more, or ask you for advice, or join one of your offering, this will be the perfect occasion to reach out. And from my side, I really would like to thank you so much for your time. It was a really beautiful opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. I have the pleasure of seeing you in different occasions through this work of nonviolence communication, but getting some time to sit and acknowledging one another in this space was wonderful, so that I could add some more valuable information about who you are, what your offering is. So I want to truly, um, like, I'm filled with gratitude for your time, your energy, and your sharing as well. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Dinny, and thank you to the listeners for joining us.
Thank you. And I really hope that everyone who listened to us today might be inspired to find different ways of connecting with ourselves and with one another as well, in whatever way resonate for you today. So thank you everyone for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Grazie per averci fatto compagnia. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. If you wish to stay updated and connected, visit us on our social media channels and our website www.artyoga.co. Ci sentiamo presto. Ciao! See you!